Today's episode is brought to you by RX Bar. For 25% off your first order, visit rxbar.com/convos and enter promo code CONVOS at checkout.
Hey guys, welcome to Coffee Combos. Lindsie, I'm really sorry if my energy is kind of low today because I'm just like super stressed out.
Why are you stressed?
Well, for one, I feel like my house is a mess. I feel like we've done every single thing with the kids this summer that we could have possibly do, and my kids are just driving me nuts in the house. This is one of the first times I've podcasted with all three kids in the house running around, but you know, we have to do the podcast. Lux is sleeping, and then the other two boys were just like being loud. I want to pull my hair out, and we're hosting game night tonight. So like the kids are having their little friends over, and then me and the parents will play games, and the kids will have their play date, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I know. I was just thinking actually that it's the time of summer that it's like that really awkward time between they've been out for long enough that it's time for them to go back to school, but it's not time for school yet. So right. I know the feeling. And Jackson is not looking forward to school. And he told me the other day, we were just riding in the car, and he was like, Mom, I am done with school. I'm ready to be president. And I'm like, okay. So
president?
Let's back up.
Oh, good.
Because you have a preschool education, and we need to like do some steps before we get to El Presidente. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So, you know, summer is kind of coming to a close, I think, for everybody. I know actually our public school system starts back August 1st.
What?
Yes. So literally like next week, after next week.
Oh, wow. Isaac goes back the end of August, and then Lincoln's preschool doesn't start until after Labor Day.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackson doesn't start school until August 14th. So we still have, you know, like a few weeks, but parents meetings and stuff start towards the end of that first week of August. And then it's like go school supply shopping and all of that. So I actually love school supply shopping. Is that weird?
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I think I used to love it for myself. And like when I was like middle school, high school, I was like, ooh, I'm going to be so organized. And like even probably when I went back to college, I was like, this is going to be so fun. I swear I'm going to be organized and so studious, and then it would just like fall apart mid-semester. So.
I always buy like the big container of like the highlighters and the markers and like all of the stuff whenever I was in school, and I always had like Lisa Frank like folders and like the Trapper Keeper.
Oh yeah. The Trapper Keeper. That's so funny. God.
Can you believe like what were we thinking? And obviously like what were our parents thinking getting us all of those school supplies? Like I had so much school supplies that I probably never used. And now I see all these parents, like, I don't know if they're like more expensive now than they were like back in the 90s whenever we were getting them. But I see so many parents talking about how expensive school supplies are and everything on Facebook. I haven't really gotten to the point where I get like the long list of stuff where you have to have like the calculators and like all of that. But I mean, Jackson's stuff is still kind of minimal. It's like Clorox wipes and, you know, like disinfectant stuff. And
we talked about it before, I think. But
we talked about projects before and like, you know, like the supplies that you have to have for projects. But I was talking to one of my friends at the pool the other day, and she said that her daughter literally had to have 20 glue sticks.
Yeah, Isaac does too. And then Joe and I both fulfill the same list just because, but I'm not complaining. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. However, I just don't remember like me as a kid. I don't remember my mom we never got like a list of stuff that we needed. And I don't remember my mom supplying the classroom. It was always just the student. So I guess that you can just like tell how times have changed. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. And it's like the things that are on the list now are like whiteboard markers and, you know, just random stuff that I couldn't see the kids using. But I also understand that since, you know, it is super expensive for teachers and they don't make a ton of money, I understand why they would ask parents to bring it because whiteboard markers and stuff like that are not cheap.
I will be looking forward to Isaac's school supply list this year. I'll have to keep y'all posted on that.
Yeah, let me know what's on it, because I love to hear about stuff like that. I think it's great. By the way, can you tell me about the pooping incident with Lux yesterday?
Okay, first of all, yesterday was a day to remember, and I seriously wish that the cameras were there for the chaos, because yesterday was the definition of like true single mom struggles, because it's obviously 1 on 3 at my house. And I woke up okay. I felt fine, but I did take an ibuprofen on an empty stomach. And so I started to feel super sick, and we were supposed to go to the park. And I immediately call Isaac and I'm like, please, can you bring me up a soda, because I'm about to throw up.
So naturally the soda is what's going to keep you from puking.
I thought maybe, because it makes you feel full. Maybe I'm stupid. So I started sipping it, and nope, I start throwing up immediately. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Now Link is with the baby, and I can hear them, and they're fine. And I stop throwing up, and Isaac goes to check on them while I'm like cleaning the sink up. And I hear Isaac say something like, Mom, he took his diaper off. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, I'll just get a diaper on him. I'll brush my teeth. We'll call it a day and still try to go to the park. So I come out of my bathroom, and there's like, it almost looks like mud on the floor. And my dogs are at the groomer yesterday. So I'm like, Isaac's like, what is that? And I pick Lux up, and not only is there shit on his foot, there's shit on my carpet. And then Isaac runs out of my room, and in the hallway on the carpet, there's also shit. And I see the diaper at the bottom of the stairs. So he took his diaper off, climbed all the way up the stairs, and must have been shitting his whole way up. So I'm literally like, I had just told my friend to like meet me at the park with the boys, and I'm trying to text her to tell her it might be a little while before we get there. And I'm just like losing my mind, because I still feel a little bit sick, but like a little bit better. I swear that this shit only happens to me.
Well, the fact that Lux literally made a snail trail all the way up the stairs yesterday.
I can't make this up.
I mean, wow. When I saw that, I was like, I'm not even going to ask, because I'm going to give it a day for it to like really sink in.
Simmer down.
When the madness is gone. So, wow. What an interesting start to your morning yesterday.
Yeah, that was all before 11 a.m. So,
well, do you know how we were talking about like just being like cooped up in the house with our kids, and how like it's so hard over the summertime and stuff? It's like you want them to be at home and you enjoy it, but at the same time, it's like you need your space, and they need to go to school and they need to have their space and whatever. Well, so I think it's going to be a good little break for us for 3 days next week to be on the road.
Yeah, I'm pumped. The boys are going to their dad's on Sunday, and then the baby will go with Chris, right before we leave. And I'm ready. But we've had about, I want to say like 1 to 2 months maybe of not filming. And so next week will be the first 3 days that we film for the new season. So I'm like excited for the break from like motherhood, but also jump right into filming. And oh my gosh, Lindsie, actually so you know how they added that new feature on Instagram with the questions that you were telling me?
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, no, I love it too once you taught me how to use it, because I'm so technologically stupid. Anyway, so someone asked me like why I look like such a bitch on the show all the time, and I always look miserable. And I think that like I just get so stressed out filming. Like when all is said and done, like I don't mind it, and like overall like I'm happy that I did it, but like I think I get so stressed out or like worked up, and like because I'm so last minute and I plan everything last minute and I never know like what's going on, or I'm not paying attention, and obviously it's all self-inflicted, but then I come off on the show as like a total see you next Tuesday. And so like I'm not really like that. So I want to
and
try
I feel
to like
when we film for Teen Mom or, you know, whatever we're filming for podcasts, I don't feel like that same thing. But also, I think what people from like the outside, because this is so relatable, because no one in my family has a baby other than me. So that was really hard for me to film. And I would come across, you know, on TV, like just this witch, or like I don't have it together or whatever. And everybody else is just like happy-go-lucky and whatever. And it's like, hey, I already had a job all day earlier today with my child. And then I had to show up to film with my baby, and nobody else, you know, had to do the same thing. So I think it's just like a lot of just stress on your shoulders of, okay, I'm trying to juggle being a mom. I'm trying to juggle working, trying to juggle like all of this stuff. And then when it's all said and done, you're like, oh, I'm so happy that I do this. Like my life is great, whatever. But then you come across on TV like a whole different way than what you really are.
Well, yeah, I mean that, and like, I don't want to sit on my couch and talk about Javi or like drama. I want to show people like the good stuff that I do, and that I am happy, and that I do have, you know, a good group of people around me. Like those are the things that I want to show, but there's no drama in that. And so sometimes it's harder to film the good stuff. And I recognize that, and I realize that, but I don't think that the viewers necessarily realize that. So I'm hoping that like with how things are right now, like everything will be like more positive. I know Joe and V are getting married. Javi's having a baby. Like I'm doing podcast stuff and like just focusing on my kids, and everything is like good. So I'm hoping that actually comes across for once.
Well, and I think that you're kind of like, you go through seasons of life, you know, like we were talking about this the other day, that like you're kind of in a season of just a different season of what you have been in the past. So
right.
All of that negativity is kind of filtered out, and you can kind of focus on the positive stuff now, but you had to get through it.
The bullshit first. Yeah, I get it for sure.
And that's the worst part. You know, it's just, everybody has it in life. It's just some people's life is televised and some isn't. Do you ever go out because you have a fear of missing out? You'll get tempted to go out for brunch, happy hour, concerts, or keeping up with just your friends, because I totally do. The problem is the moment passes, but the credit card debt stays with you. If you can relate, you should try Lending Club. With Lending Club, you can consolidate your debt or pay off credit cards with one fixed monthly payment. Since 2007, Lending Club has helped millions of people regain control of their finances with affordable fixed-rate personal loans.
So the great thing is there's no trips to the bank, there's no high-interest credit cards, and you just go to lendingclub.com and tell them about yourself and how much you want to borrow. You pick the terms that are right for you. Everyone's different, so what works for you might not work for someone else. And if you're approved, your loan is automatically deposited into your bank account in as little as a few days. So how perfect is that? Lending Club is the #1 peer-to-peer lending platform with over $35 billion in loans issued.
Go to lendingclub.com/combos, check your rate in minutes, and borrow up to $40,000. That's lendingclub.com/combos. Again, lendingclub.com/combos. All loans made by Web Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Now let's get back to the show. Jackson and I were walking back from the pool the other day, and he asked me, he was like, Mom, can you tell me why like some people have cameras and some people don't? And I was like,
oh, wow.
What? Because I thought, I'm not thinking in that space, you know, like my head's
right.
like, oh, people are taking pictures with like a Canon or something like that. Like I have no idea what he's talking about. So I said, what? And he said, you know, Mom, like how people have the cameras, like whenever you film. And I'm like, yeah. And he said, well, why do some people get to do that and like some people don't? And I said, well, some of us are crazy and some people are just normal in life. And that's why.
Literally. He's so observant. Like that's such a good question, because they were essentially born into it. They don't really know any different. So
at all,
you would think that, right. So my friend yesterday, we were texting and she said something about, we were talking about who they're adding to Teen Mom, OG or whatever, because the craziest, I don't know if it's true. I am not getting involved in this, about Bristol Palin joining Teen Mom OG. And then, my friend said something like, I can't believe they did this. And I said, well, you know, reality TV is crazy. Like, it takes a certain kind of fucked up person to be on reality TV. And she's like, you're not fucked up. I was like, no, for sure I am. Like, for sure.
For
like,
sure. And to deal with it. To deal
with it, like, it takes a special kind of freaking person.
I mean, and to deal with some of the stuff, not only like filming, but to deal with some of the stuff that you have to go through, like the social media stuff that comes with it, and like the attacking and the, you know, somebody asked me yesterday, I did the little question thing on Instagram, and some girl had the nerve to ask me if I had plastic surgery on my face because my face was perfect. And it was like, thanks for the compliment. But at the same time, like, no, like, why is this your business? And
that's like a backhanded. Yeah, that's like backhanded compliment for sure.
So I'm just like, okay, yeah, not going to answer that one. I love that feature because it's like you can answer the questions that you want to answer, but then you also, the people that are just jerks, you have the ability to just delete the comment.
I just love it but you know, Instagram's been pissing me off. Like, every time I try to get on it, it like freezes, locks me out, it shuts down. And I'm like, I literally just want to answer these questions because it's like so fun, but I just get annoyed. So I'm like, fuck it. And I can't ever answer like more than 3 questions because Instagram's just annoying.
And also, can we talk about, because I know you said, oh, well, I'm not getting involved in the Teen Mom OG stuff, whatever. Well, I am. And if Bristol is going to be on their cast, I'm super excited for it because I literally feel like I would be friends with her.
Yeah, I've actually never met her. We follow each other on Instagram. I didn't know that she followed me, so I quickly followed her back yesterday. I don't want to get involved in the politics side of it. I don't know if she's actually joining. Nothing was said to me. I did see it all over the internet, Twitter. Everyone sent it to me and literally blew my mind. Like, obviously doesn't really affect me necessarily. I don't know how the other girls feel about it. And I cannot tell you how many media outlets reached out to me yesterday to ask me how I felt about it and like what my feelings were. And I literally was like, I can't answer this because 1, I don't know if it's official, and 2, like, it's not my show. Like, OG is separate from Teen Mom 2.
I think that's what people get really confused about. You know, it's like, yes, it's all part of the same franchise. And like, obviously Teen Mom 2 became because of Teen Mom OG. So I get it. But at the same time, it's kind of like Real Housewives. You know, it's like somebody on Real Housewives of Atlanta is not necessarily going to know what's going on in Orange County. Right.
So that's kind of like where I was at. Yeah. And I don't have any beef with Bristol. I do remember like years ago, I want to say Macy did an event with her. Maybe the Candies Foundation or something similar to that. I remember her and Farrah did an event or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe she's excited because she knows her. I really have no idea. But yeah, I don't know. And then I tweeted like, oh, that's crazy. Like, you know, the producers sure know how to, you know, keep us on our toes essentially. And I guess I'm like surprised, but not surprised, but also like whatever. Like, I think it'll do the show good. I don't know.
I definitely think it'll do the show good, and I'm here for it. I think she's so cute, and her kids are so cute. So
she has more than one, right? I know she has a little boy named Trip. Oh, she has 3? Oh, wow. Okay, so she has Trip, and then she has 2 more.
Yeah, she has 2 girls.
Oh, wow. Do you know their names?
I don't know what their names are, but her little boy was first, and then the 2 girls came next. The one's so really little though. She has like a baby.
Like real new.
Yeah, like pretty new. I would say like maybe 6 months or something like that old.
You know what I've become obsessed with lately? RX bars. Oh my gosh, they're so convenient and delicious, and I know, Lindsie, you like them too.
I know we've talked about it before, but they are literally one of my favorite on-the-go snacks. If you're like me and always running around, eating in your car and grabbing something just to run out the door, RX Bar is such a great healthy solution to keep on hand, and they are so good.
I started keeping RX bars in the car for whenever I needed a quick bite or one of my kids gets hungry. You know, we're out running around after practice, before practice. So they're just super convenient. RX bar has 11 different flavors. So there's one for everyone, even the picky eaters in my family. Actually, all my kids are picky eaters. So my personal favorite is the peanut butter chocolate.
That's also my personal favorite and Jackson's personal favorite. Their labels list their core ingredients, which are just 3 egg whites, 2 dates, 6 almonds, no BS, which is so true. And it's just the good stuff. And you know that even though you're snacking on the go, it's still good for you. And they're giving you guys an awesome deal. So for 25% off your first order, just go to rxbar.com/convos and enter promo code convos at checkout. That's rxbar.com/convos and promo code convos.
They're so good. Your kids will love them too. Definitely try them because that's such a good deal and you don't want to miss out. Let's get back to the show. Oh, you know what? Actually, what I was just about to say, now that you talked about 3 babies, I don't know what made me think of this. Have you seen, remember Kristen Cavallari from The Hills?
Yeah, very Cavallari.
So I don't know what made me think of this, but Kristen Cavallari has her own show on E! Now, and I watched some of it, and I wouldn't say that I'm a fan. I wouldn't say I'm a hater. Like, I'm kind of neutral with Kristen. Like, I loved her on The Hills or whatever, but like, I was bored to death with her show. Like, I couldn't watch the full episode because I was so bored.
Oh, very Cavallari?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's filmed out of Nashville, actually.
Yes.
So I think My Family Show and that show are the only reality TV shows filmed out of Nashville. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think. And I would probably watch it just to see if they film at any of the same places, but that would kind of be as far as my interest went. I think she was awesome on The Hills. I was a major Hills follower, loved the show. But I actually haven't tuned in. I had planned to tune in actually, and then forgot about it. And I'll have to watch it to give an actual reaction to it because I don't know.
I just love her style, her Instagram, her family's cute, but realistically, the show for a reality show to sit there, I wasn't interested.
What was it? Was it just nothing, not enough going on, or?
I think when I think reality TV, just because of what I'm used to, I think either super funny or super tons of drama. So I don't super happy, nothing really going on doesn't really interest me. I didn't laugh a whole lot and there's not drama. So it was just kind of okay, you're opening a store. Cool. You hang out with your girlfriends that work for you. Awesome. I'm happy that you're happy and you have a great life. And that's awesome. But not everyone needs a show for that. You know what I mean?
Well, and I mean, we can't relate because I have a crazy family and I'm crazy.
And my life is a shit show. So that's why we're good for TV.
Exactly. I mean, 1 week I'm divorcing, 1 week I'm not. And 1 week you're with Chris and 1 week you're not. So it's it works.
Right. So you get me. I don't know. Maybe unreal. I need to give it another chance. But what else is going on? Talk to me.
Okay. So I asked Jackson the other day, about babies. Not that I have any immediate plans to have a baby. I would actually have to have a plan to do that. But, Jackson, I was just having conversation because he's such a fun age to have conversation with, and the things that 5-year-olds say are just so funny. I wish we could just put Jackson, Isaac, and Lincoln on a segment on their own and just see what the conversation would be because they're just so funny. And
you just never know what they're going to say or how they interpret things.
Exactly. And so I was asking him, I was like, well, Jackson, I think that eventually I'm going to have another baby because I don't want you to grow up alone because just a little backstory, I've been a flip-flopper on this situation for so long.
Right.
And I go from extremes no, I don't. Yes, I do. In the middle of maybe. So
Right.
I saw this article the other day, and I think I actually sent it to you about this preacher who preached a funeral about this man who had nobody at his funeral, and he was an only child, and he lived in a retirement home, had no family, and he died like with no family. And
So sad.
He had a service, and the preacher was the only person that was there that like preached his service. So I just like saw that, and it broke my heart. And I was like, oh my God, like I could not imagine my baby growing up with nobody. And I know the age difference will be probably like 7 years, but
Right.
I'm just like, oh my God, like that just broke my heart.
So crazy. Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's
it
so
triggered
sad.
me to ask Jackson about having a baby, and like if we had one, what would he want it to be? And he was like, well, Mom, is it really a choice? Which was kind of a profound thing for a 5-year-old to say. And I said, no, it's not really a choice. It's whatever God, wants you to have, and whatever he blesses you with is what you have. So he blessed me with you, and you're a boy. And if Mommy got pregnant again, then it could be a boy or a girl, whatever God decides. And he said, well, yeah, that sounds great. He said, so I guess we would just see. And I said, yeah, we would have to see. And I said, but if you had your choice, what would you want it to be? Well, at first he flip-flopped and said that he wanted it to be a girl. And I think he wants it to be a girl because it wouldn't take away from him being like the boy. But then he flip-flopped and he was like, no, I think I want it to be a boy because it can play all the same things as me and blah, blah, blah. Little does he know he's going to be totally out of all the things the baby would want to do. And so I asked him like names, and I said, you've got to be creative when you like think of names. And he was like, well, I think the baby's name should be Arnold because he's so into Hey Arnold right now.
Oh my God. First of all, yes, Jackson. We love Hey Arnold. But okay, Jackson and Arnold. I dig it.
Jackson and Arnold. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And he's like, and then since we're going to have another baby, I think it's time to start talking about us getting a cat, Mom. And I'm going to name it Cupcake. And he's like, you're just not going to be allergic to this one. And I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't really work like that. But we might get a baby, but we're definitely not getting a cat.
I mean, the cat might be less responsibility, but I'm with you. It's funny that you sent me that article and that we're talking about it and one of the questions I got on Instagram yesterday was for me to talk about not having family on the podcast. And so I do have two cousins that have kids, and they are like essentially like sisters to me. They are so great, but they live in different states from me. So they're twins, and then they both have kids, and they're around the same age as my kids. And so we only get together a couple times a year. And I struggle with the thought of like, holidays with, I obviously want my kids on the holidays, but with the rotation, I'm like, the boys go to their family with their dads on their holidays, and they're like surrounded by like a ton of family. And then with me, they're not. And so so they go, both of the things that I'm about to say kind of go hand in hand. So like, I obviously for Isaac and Lincoln wanted them to have more siblings. And like, I'm so happy I have 3 kids and, 3 boys, they're going to be best friends. But also I decided not to have any more children, which is crazy because the reality for me to have another one just wouldn't be fair to the 3 that I already have. Right. So, I mean, I think about it. I maybe down the road when I'm, with somebody in a serious relationship, but like right now, like I just can't. But I'm like, I think about that all the time. Like they really don't have family with me. And so like, I would love to like be able to expand, but can't right now. But then also it's just like so much. And I think about, okay, so when they grow up, they don't have like aunts and uncles. They don't have, at least not on my side. Well, so it's like,
and that's so hard, like to think about that. And it's just like sad,
It's so sad. So like, I think that you wanting to have another one or like maybe planning it in the next couple of years, like I think it's like good and you're seriously considering it. It's not like you're just going out on a whim and like, okay, we're going to have a baby and like just winging it. Like, I think that it's nice that you planned it, and it would be good to have somebody for Jackson. And I don't think 7 years is too far apart. I mean, they won't be in school together, but Yeah.
I was 7 whenever my brother Chase was born, and it was like a perfect thing because he was my live baby doll. So parenting wise for my parents, it probably wasn't perfect and they probably wanted to kill me, but you know, he could go in my baby doll strollers. Like, it was awesome. Obviously with having a boy being older, the situation would be a little bit different, but it was literally the perfect gap, you know? So, I don't know. I like always loved to feed him and loved to like be a part of everything. And it was like having like a live baby doll. So maybe it's a perfect situation. I know personally for me, I was never cut out to be a mom of 2 littles. So to have like back to backs, that's just not something just not for me. And I would have survived if I would have had it, but I just knew that for my sanity, I did not need that. So, I think it'll be great. And whenever God's timing is right, it'll happen. And I trust that. So, everybody just pray for me.
Well, we'll pray for Will because we know that he wasn't on board for a little while.
Oh, Will's never on board with anything.
It's fine. Okay, so it's time to take a break to tell you guys about the cutest, most comfortable sheets ever. We've talked about it before, and since I've started using Brooklinen, my nighttime routine has been totally upgraded.
For sure. Who doesn't love a good quality sleep? You guys, Brooklinen is so affordable because there are no crazy, ridiculous markups. I love Brooklinen because, one, I just love the feel of the sheets. They feel like hotel quality sheets. I love going to a hotel to sleep. I don't know if you guys do or not, but I do. I always get a really good night's sleep, and now I've been able to have it at home.
So this company was founded in April of 2014 by husband and wife team, Vicky and Rich Fulop. Their philosophy is that you deserve the most beautiful, comfortable home essentials with no crazy prices.
My Brooklinen sheets are the best, most comfortable sheets that I've ever slept on. Brooklinen.com has an exclusive offer just for our listeners. You get $20 off and free shipping when you use promo code COFFEE at brooklinen.com.
Brooklinen is so confident that they offer a risk-free 60-night satisfaction guarantee and a lifetime warranty on all of their sheets and comforters. The only way to get $20 off and free shipping is to use promo code COFFEE at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com, promo code COFFEE. Brooklinen, these are the best sheets ever. Back to it. So, how's Will doing?
Who knows?
How's Chris doing? Your neighbor, Chris.
How's my neighbor, Chris, doing? I don't know, but literally, okay, so there was such mixed reviews about the episode when we were talking about my neighbor, Chris, like, oh, he could have a disability or he could have this or he could have that. Well, in fact, I know this man and I know he doesn't. So this is
you wouldn't have said all of that if there was a problem or a disability. Yeah, obviously.
This is just like, this man can be in his garage for like hours tinkering around with his car. He does not have anything wrong with him. I just want to clarify. But literally, I pulled in my driveway the other day and I looked over and I said, I'm going to go and cut a pattern in his grass. Like, he will have to cut it.
Right.
And then Will was like, I think I'm just going to throw some weed killer over there. Like, I don't know. We're just so weird about our yard and just like it to look like a certain way. And that's okay. To each their own. If you want to look like a ragamuffin, great. If you don't and you want to look like you're kept, great. I don't care either way. Like, at this point, whatever. Like,
I'm frustrated with my yard because I can only do so much by myself. And so I told you I've been trying to like grow grass in like certain patches, and I paid a lot of money, and I even installed a sprinkler system, and my landscapers are here every week. And for whatever reason, I cannot get the grass to grow where I'm trying to get it to grow. And I'm so frustrated because now we're coming to a close on summertime and I have still no grass. It looks brown. And I put so much time and money into my home, and it's so frustrating. So I just get super annoyed.
Well, anytime that anything doesn't do what it's supposed to do is annoying, first of all. And I'm kind of in a limbo state where I love my house, love my yard, have great house, great yard. It's kind of that weird state of I could sell my house and make good money, or I could stay here and make no money and put more money into it to make it better. Or we could move and pay a premium for a house that has everything already done. My house is only 3 years old, I think. We built this one, and I'm kind of in that state of I put carpet upstairs for the meantime, and I want to rip it up and put all hardwoods, or I don't want to do anything more and move. So it's like such a weird feeling.
Wow. Okay. So we must have moved into our houses the same. I've been in this house for 3 years. This month actually. And I
moved in July too.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we've both been, when I was getting the house, Javi and I must have looked at like 30 something houses and like just couldn't decide. And then we were going to build, and then I don't know, we couldn't, everything that we would have wanted in a new build, like in a development or something, like we'd either have to pay more money for a big yard and less things that we wanted inside the house, or have everything that we wanted inside the house and then no yard. And so it was kind of like I was like annoyed that I had to kind of make that decision. And then our realtor was like, I have one more house to show you, blah, blah, blah. And it had everything on the inside that I would have wanted. My layout is a little weird because I feel like whoever built this house, it was one family that built it, and they were here since like only one owners, I mean.
Right.
And the layout was a little funny. I think that they kind of fucked up a little bit because they kind of made it so that what am I trying to say here? Like if they would have rearranged some things, they'd have more.
It's less usable space.
Right. So they kind of fucked themselves. And so like, I'm a little annoyed with that now, but since I've been here for 3 years, Javi and I got divorced. I kept the house. I think this is like my forever home. As much as I would love to just like sell it and build something that is like 100% mine. I'm like, this house literally has like almost 2 acres, the pool, all the bedrooms we need. I've finished half the basement. Like, I think it's just our forever home. And I don't think that we'll ever move.
Yeah. I think there's just too much with the house that I'm in now that I would want to change, right. I want my master on the main. I want my laundry on the main, kids' bedrooms upstairs. All the bedrooms are upstairs right now. The laundry's upstairs. So obviously with all the bedrooms being upstairs, I don't mind the laundry being upstairs in this house, but like my forever house, I want my master on the main and my laundry on the main. So
yeah, I do love that. That's like one of my favorite things when I go into houses like that.
So I'm just like, oh, and then I love the area that I'm in. And that's hard too, because I don't want to leave like this one bubble that I'm in. So then it limits.
Can you build in that development?
No. So it's all basically the development is pretty much developed. So yeah, there's really no choices. There's one development that's going up right down the road that I've been following since before they ever broke ground. And I'm trying to just kind of wait to see what the lots are going to look like. Once they kind of like start getting the lots set to how they're going to be, then I can visually see better. But until then, I'm just kind of like, okay, do I just like hold off? Because I mean, hardwood floors to put them in upstairs in my house would be very expensive. So I don't want to spend that money because I'm not going to make that money back. So
Well, so when Javi and I were getting divorced, Javi actually got the house appraised because he was going to try to take it from me. Long story, won't get into it. And I've put so much money into this house and I won't see a dime of it. Like, even though I'll make more than what I bought it for, or I'll make just what it's like valued at. I'm talking like nearly $200,000 into my home and I won't see hardly a dime of it. So I'm like, okay, that's another reason why I'm not leaving. But when we were looking to build too, you have a pool in your neighborhood, right?
Yes, we do.
So that was one of the things that I really wanted. I really either wanted to live in a development that had a pool or have a pool ourselves. And the development that we were looking to build in, we loved the house and we were like, okay, we'll settle for like a smaller yard if there's like a community pool. So the lady who was selling us, like trying to sell us the lot or whatever in the house, whatever, she said that a lot of times around here, I don't know how it is there, they'll plan for a pool and you'll buy a house and a lot and then they will never put it in. And so that pissed me off. And I was like, okay, no, like if I'm going to buy this house with the, expectation that there's going to be a pool, then that's what I'm going to do. But she was like, sometimes they just never get put in. And so then I was like, forget it. I'm just going to buy the house that the last house that the realtor showed us.
Happened kind of in my neighborhood. They had said that they were going to put it in and it took forever for them to put it in because all of these houses are new construction. So it took forever for them to put it in. And for a while, once I got here, the pool was already in, but I know for people that were here before me, like in the first phase of the development, there wasn't a pool and they were really upset because, they bought the house with intentions of the pool was going in. So I don't think
and you pay fees, the HOA, like all of that the pool is included in that. And so, if you're not if you're paying for those services and then you don't ever get them, like she said, sometimes it'll come late with when the whole development is completed, but she said sometimes they'll complete the whole development and they won't put the tennis courts in. They won't put the pool in. And so I was like, well, no.
Yeah. Not interested. Well, on a completely unrelated, housing note, I know how I love crime, and I know that you love crime. I mean, not love crime, but you know what I mean? Like
crime shows, the whole watching it. Yeah, of course.
Just, and weird things that happen. And I hope I'm never a victim of any of this stuff. But there was a boy that went missing in Atlanta from a Publix. Okay. He was a pharmacy student, 25-year-old University of Georgia grad. And he was a pharmacy intern at a Metro Atlanta Publix. And he left the grocery store at 9:15 p.m., went outside. He had picked up some groceries for his mom. And the store said that his car was still in the parking lot and the car was unlocked and it appeared to have been rummaged through, whatever. And that the groceries that he bought on his way out were still in the car, which was very suspicious. So the groceries, his white coat, and the glove box were opened when the police got there. And his family said it was completely out of character for him. The following week, he was actually supposed to start as a full-time pharmacist there. And so people were handing out flyers, all this kind of stuff to try to find him. And apparently when he had gotten to work, once they started the investigation, when he had gotten to work, he had told a coworker that he worked with in the pharmacy that some young men had suspiciously approached him as he was arriving to work. And they had asked him how much money he made and that he had a really nice car. So I don't know if they had been following him, kind of waiting for him to get off because they wanted to rob him or something happened. But he's missing, his phone has been turned off and his Apple Watch has been turned off. So yeah, and it's just,
I wonder if obviously you think the worst when days and days have gone by, you're okay, the chances of him being alive are probably really low, but I wonder if because he's a pharmacist that they would keep him alive to get them prescription drugs.
I don't know, because wouldn't he have to go back to his pharmacy to get it?
Not his pharmacy necessarily, maybe another pharmacy, maybe he can call them in. I don't know. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to follow,
That's so sad. I just it's just so I don't even have words. It just is frustrating because it's he knew that something was up and nothing was really, what could he really do that someone approached him? You know what I mean? And then now he's missing and
I mean,
the whole thing is sad.
It's sad, but I'll make sure that I'm sure it'll be all
Keep
over.
Keep us posted. Yeah,
Atlanta
for
news.
sure.
I'll keep everybody posted. And then there was another thing that I saw on CNN, because the hot car deaths are like crazy, in the summer
Are they?
months.
I haven't heard of any.
Well, I know that there was a baby.
No, don't tell me about the baby.
Well, back whenever I was pregnant with Jackson, there was a baby that had died. His name was Cooper, and he died in a hot car in Atlanta. I followed the whole story. Actually, somebody had reached out to me that was a friend of the dad that left the baby in the car, had reached out to me to ask for help for to spread the word, whatever. And they found the dad guilty of the basically murder of the baby because he intentionally left the baby in the car.
Wait, did he work at Home Depot or something?
Yes, he worked at Home Depot. He was just on 2020.
I remember this story. Yes, I remember the story. Mm-hmm. And the mom kind of knew, but she was in on it a little bit, I think, or she knew and didn't.
Yes, there was just a 2020 on it, and I recorded it, but I haven't watched it yet, so I'll let you know.
Oh, I have the chills.
I'll let you know what was on there, because I followed that case so heavily. But there was a baby actually that was on a daycare bus. He was one of 28 students from an academy in Houston, and they had taken a field trip earlier in the day, and he was found, a 3-year-old little boy was found dead, had been in there for hours on the bus in nearly 100-degree weather. So I know accidents and stuff do happen, but just as a general awareness, if you're taking your kids anywhere, make sure that even if you're in a rush, make sure you check your car before you go in somewhere. And even if you think that it's just going to be 1 minute, do not leave them in the car, because anything can happen. And
you lose track of your mind. Sometimes parents in general, mom brain, you have pregnancy brain, you have just absent-minded sometimes,
Exactly. And so
just bring your kids with you.
Make sure, I know it can be frustrating to have to get in and out of the car and take the kid out of the car seat and whatever. But if you're going somewhere that you have to feel frustrated or whatever, and you feel like you need to leave them in the car, then I would just suggest going at a time that you don't have to leave them in the car, because it's just too hot. Things happen, and it's just not safe to leave your kids in the car.
I have on my Suburban, when I turn my car off, on the dash, it literally, beeps and it'll say check back seat. It'll remind me on the screen to check the back seat. Yeah, because probably for that reason. I have 3 rows, but even if I have the 3rd row down, it'll still say, check back seat. And it'll beep until I close the car and everything. So I can't get away with.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are alerts on newer model vehicles now that, will alert you. Mine actually has a seatbelt thing that dings. So if there's a seatbelt that's still, attached into the whatever, the holder, then it will let you know, there's still somebody in the car. So I know in this specific case, I'm sure it was an accident. I would imagine, a daycare center, I couldn't imagine. And I know that things happen and there's foul play involved sometimes or whatever, but this seems like a true accident, and they were planning on interviewing. This is a very new case, and they were planning on interviewing the bus driver and the chaperone who was on the field trip. And they supposedly are being very cooperative with investigators. So, I mean, it's so sad. And
just
I can't
imagine though,
being the mom or the dad.
It was an accident. Well, and what if it was an accident, and that bus driver and that chaperone have to live with that for the rest of their lives?
I know.
Horrific.
Well, and did they not check the bus? You know what I mean? Did they just not go
I remember
through the bus?
When I was a kid, we would get off the bus, and I remember seeing the bus driver go back and check all the seats. Whether it was for garbage or for kids or for what lost stuff. I remember getting off the bus, and I would see the bus driver park and check everything.
Well, and I mean, I don't know. I just don't see, I guess I'm just so super cautious in my life with just every situation that I'm always checking behind on everything, even if Jackson's playing in his playroom for like 30 minutes and I haven't heard anything and it sounds like suspiciously quiet, then I'll go down and say, hey, what's going on down here? You know, just
right.
I'm just very cautious. And I know that a lot of times that things do happen because parents intended for it to happen, and it's so sick and sad. But in this situation, I think it really was an accident. And like you said, that's going to be terrible for those people that are living, because they're going to have to live with that for the rest of their lives. And also, could you imagine being a parent? For parents out here, so many people, you know, have to put their kids in childcare and are trusting that, you know, their kids are going to be taken care of, watched after, and that, you know, nothing's going to happen. Obviously, accidents happen, but not deaths, you know? I mean, that's pretty...
Nobody should have to go through that at all.
No, could you imagine the parents getting the call or coming to the daycare center and being like, getting that news? I mean, no.
No, absolutely not.
I was just, when I read that, I was like, that's so sad. And there's been so much awareness over the past, I would say the first hot car death I heard about was the one in Atlanta with the little boy here. And there's been so much awareness about it on the news. Like every news channel covers it. And just for it to happen, it's like, are these parents watching the news, or are they just like clueless or whatever? I don't know.
I mean, I'm guilty of not seeing any recently. I haven't heard of anything. I also don't have the news on all the time, but I do remember like the one that you just talked about in Atlanta, where everybody covered it. So everyone heard about it. But yeah, it's so heartbreaking.
So sad. And then like on a completely light note, I know people were, when I did the Instagram question thing, people were talking about how much I talked about Chick-fil-A on the podcast. And it's true.
Really?
Like I didn't even realize I did, but like I do talk about Chick-fil-A all the time because I go there all the time. I actually had dinner from there last night. It's my favorite place ever. And they're building one not too far from my house, literally like 2 miles from my house. And it's going to be on the way to Jackson's school. So I'm like, oh, perfect. But that will just increase, the reasons why I probably
your conversation.
It'll probably just increase the reasons why I need to stay at this house, but also increase, my Chick-fil-A intake probably by like 5 times a week now. So,
great.
I was reading something though, and after 20 years, Chick-fil-A has decided to stop carrying the cow calendars. And that's so sad because you can buy the cow calendars. I forget how much they are, but they have little coupons in them for like every month. And I don't buy them, but I know like a lot of like older people buy them, and I'm sure younger people buy them too. But I know like my grandparents used to buy them and stuff. And it has just like little special coupons every month for 12 months, you know, the 12 months. And they're not carrying it anymore. And there was a lot of uproar on social media about Chick-fil-A discontinuing the cow calendar. So if you are a cow calendar user, make sure you let us know your thoughts on why Chick-fil-A would have, one, discontinued it, and two, if you are upset about it, because there were so many people and so many negative comments about them discontinuing it. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for the Chick-fil-A update.
I just wanted to let you guys all know. And
yeah, it's appreciated.
If you guys are listening, make sure that you are following us on our Coffee Combos podcast Instagram. We actually are just getting the last bit of our stuff for the giveaway that we talked about several weeks ago. It's taken a little bit of time to get it all together, but we should have that giveaway not this coming week, but the following week on Instagram. So just make sure that you guys are following us so that you can participate. It will be something for moms, but also if you're not a mom, you can still enter because you can give it to somebody who is a mom, but it's going to be baby centered. And also if you have not put a 5-star review on iTunes, make sure that you do that. We appreciate those, and any of the comments, any feedback, that you guys have, anything that you guys would like us to talk about, any guests that you guys would like us to have on, make sure that you just put it in the comments or send a direct message on Instagram, and we will try to get that person on so you guys can hear about their lives as well.
Yes. So until next week when we're in Nashville and Chattanooga, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.